Hey, welcome back. I was just thinking about how things have really changed during my career in information security. Take, for example, external attack surface management programs. When I was a system admin back in the early 2000s, we never considered this as a program, and we almost never thought of our networks and devices from the perspective of a hacker. I knew hackers were out there, and I was mystified by what Rainforest Puppy, and if you don't know him, Google him, but what he was doing with Microsoft attacks just blew my mind. But information security was still a novelty, and we were still doing things like standing up workstations with PC Anywhere and leaving it open straight to the desktop. So, in the early days of the internet, we were building virtual empires out of some very basic technologies. You took a handful of Windows machines and maybe a Microsoft SQL server. That was enough to get you started. If you were really fancy, you were using Java with an Oracle server. And back then, you either owned it or you hosted it in some place like Rackspace. And the only third-party provider you needed to manage was Scene7, which was a rich media provider. Back then, your firewall rules were really simple, and so was your vulnerability management. However, that perimeter isn't your perimeter anymore. Today, your perimeter includes Facebook, YouTube, Google, Salesforce, and Cloudflare. And you might have code from a dozen sources performing analytics, rich media delivery, video playing, support chat, reviews, CMS, and event handling. That handful of Windows boxes are likely now to be virtual machines hosted in Amazon Web Services or containers in Google's Kubernetes engine. You can't operate as a nice, discrete island anymore. Everything is connected. And this makes sense. A global economy requires global technology. But think like a hacker? Back then, who had time? We were struggling with asset management at a very basic level. Back in 2010, asset management was understanding what the server under the desk in IT was for, and calling the data center to tell them that you would make the CD-ROM drive pop open for the system you wanted them to reboot. Strangely today, the number one concern frequently noted by CISOs is still asset management. But today's asset management is just one step in a larger program of attack surface management. Now, Forrester defines attack surface management, or ASM, and later external attack surface management, or EASM, as the process of continuously discovering, identifying, inventorying, and assessing the exposures of an entity's IT estate. Because the landscape has changed, and we're using systems and solutions hosted by third-party technology providers with security hygiene outside of our control, it's important to reevaluate our approach. But what hasn't changed? Hackers. They've improved their tactics, techniques, and procedures, their TTPs, but their motivations remain the same. Their hacks are either opportunistic or targeted. Now, by opportunistic, I mean that sometimes your attack surface is so sloppy that they stumble across a way to breach you without even really trying. And the truth is, most organizations are seldom the intentional targets. This is usually the case even with the most advanced persistent threats. All right, now recognizing that attackers are looking for the easiest way in, it's clear that far, far too much time and attention is given to arguing about what's in or out of scope. I understand that often the cost of the engagement is a driver in these discussions. But unfortunately, with an attack surface that has no clear delineations of responsibility, if you don't at least include everything for discovery, you could be leaving a wide open hole into your network. The scope of any test should include anything they can use against you. Now, can I let you in on a little secret? I loved doing internal pen tests. They were just so easy. I almost always obtained control of the network. There are just way too many moving parts for an organization to get a handle on. Plus, many of the technologies and network protocols have weaknesses built right into them. I'm going to say it out loud. Thank you, Microsoft, for paying my mortgage. Bottom line is, if I'm in your network, it's over. Your number one priority needs to be keeping me out, or the bad guys out. The fact that we continue to see large breaches in the news means that our existing tools are insufficient. I mean, asset management has always been a challenge, but with the modern attack surface, it's nearly an exercise in futility. So that leaves us with these tools in our toolkit: vulnerability scanning, phishing tests, our once-a-year annual pen tests, automated pen tests, expensive pen tests, also known as red teams, more expensive pen tests, called adversarial emulation, and super expensive pen tests called adversarial simulation. Vulnerability scanning is usually performed at a high cadence, which is great, so you'll be able to stay on top of the ever-evolving threat landscape. Now, those phishing tests, I don't know, they have some questionable value, and they may do more damage to morale than desired. So that annual pen test, man, usually has so many restrictions and rules of engagement that it is nothing like what happens to you in a real-world attack. Now, automated pen tests could be really awesome, except they lack that human intelligence necessary to catch the attack sequence and advanced business logic attacks. And those red teams, adversarial emulations, and adversarial simulation attacks will help you identify previously unknown attack vectors, and they will provide deep insights. But they're incredibly cost prohibitive and usually can only be performed once a year and only by organizations flush with cash. Now, Forrester and Gartner identify EASM as an emerging product set that supports organizations in identifying risks coming from the internet-facing assets and systems that they may be totally unaware of. Now, these threats include shadow IT, exposure management, and our ever-expanding attack surfaces. They suggest that to stay ahead, organizations must think like an attacker and consider the entire attack surface. Now, this includes your partners and service providers. Remember Target? They got hacked into oblivion through what? HVAC supplier? So the increasing importance of EASM can be attributed to major contributing factors like the pandemic and the need to support employees in work-from-home environments. And then there's the push to put everything into the cloud, and then the ever-increasing interdependencies of third-party technology providers. I mean, with all of this, you got to do more than a vuln scan with a few extra tricks. That's why I'm introducing Halo Security's EASM platform. We look for risks not detected by traditional vulnerability scanners. We combine deep discovery, attack surface management, with traditional scanning and enhance all of this automation with our integrated manual testing services. An all-in-one platform that our customers use to get the best information available to efficiently manage all of their external risk. Now, our online platform is ideal for the manager and the C-level looking for deep insights into their risk of compromise and provides a dashboard view of their modern attack surface. It's this information that can be used to make informed decisions on where to invest time and money in defensive measures. All right, well, this is all the time we have for the day, but don't worry. We'll be digging into this a lot more to help you understand what's at risk and what tools can protect you. For more information about Halo's security solution and to schedule a no-obligation demo, go to the link below. Also, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe buttons below. I am Halo Joe with Halo Security, and as I said before, stick with me, we're going places.